Today we're calculating with time and money, and on this video we are aiming higher. Now earlier down the school you'll have done a lot of work calculating with money, because in a sense it helps to make sense of a lot of number relationships. So for example, you'd know 50p add 60p is £1.10. Now that will help when you come to calculate with decimals, for example knowing that 0.5 add 0.6 isn't 0.11 but it's 1.1 in a similar way. Similarly, if I said to you what's 12 times 0.99, I imagine a lot of you would go into a bit of a blind panic. But if I said, well, what's 12 times 99p, you'd probably think, well, 12 times a pound is £12, and then I'll have 12p too much, so I just need to subtract that to give me £11.88. Money makes sense. We're used to dealing with it. Time is a bit more testing. And that's because time uses a different number system. What was the time 3/4 of an hour before 1:20 p.m? Well, I'm probably used to 3/4 being 0.75 in our system, which is base 10. But when we've got a system where we count up in 60s, 3/4 of course is actually 45. So when I'm looking at 3/4 of an hour before 1:20, I've got to take 45 minutes off. I take 20 minutes off to get to 1 o'clock, and then of course to take 25 minutes off, I'm taking that from 60 to get to 12:35, a very different system. Similarly, if I was asked how many hours is 150 minutes, instinctively I could think, well, it's an hour, 1, and 50 minutes. But of course we've got this different counting system. In 60s, 60 would be 1 hour, 120 minutes would be 2 hours, and then I'd have another 30 minutes. So of course it would be 2 hours and 30 minutes. Money makes sense, testing time. Notice my use of a semicolon to show the contrast. Now again, because you're quite used to calculating with money, often we introduce multi-step problems in the context of money. So here are two multi-step questions. Make sure you present the answer in the right form the question asks for. Pause the video and have a go. So clearly the first step would be to work out how much we've spent. 2 lots of £7 is £14. 4 lots of 95p, I'd think, well, 4 lots of a pound is £4, and I need to take off 20p, because that's the difference between £1 and 95p is 5p, 4 times 20p. So that would give me £3.80. I'd add them together to give £17.80 that I've spent. Now, clearly, the question says, how much change do you receive? Now, much easier when I'm working out the difference between £20 and £17.80, rather than to do a column subtraction like this, where I've got lots of exchanges, just to use a counting on strategy like a number line to give me my answer of £2.20. And for the second question, the first thing of course you need to do is subtract the cost of the tiara from £50. So actually I know that I've got £25 to spend on wallets. And then my question is, how many 7s in 25? And of course, there are 3. Now, the question asks, how many wallets? So of course, of all the information here, the 3 wallets would be my answer. Now, before you start, it's just really important to notice how, for calculating with time, a column addition or subtraction method wouldn't work. If you have a look at this example, of course, when we come to do 10 take away 1, that would give us 9, and 9 isn't an amount that you'd have in minutes, because there's 60 minutes in an hour. Also, when we're calculating over PM and AM boundaries, it wouldn't work either. I'd have 0 take away 2, and I don't have a time of -2. A number line is a much better strategy when you're calculating with time. Have a go at these two questions, pause the video, and then we'll have a look at them. Now, generally, I would find it easier to take off the hours first. So if I go 2 hours backwards, that'll get me to 11:07. The difficult part of the question is when you're calculating over hour boundaries. So here, I'll be looking to go to the nearest hour, 11 o'clock, and that goes back 7 minutes. And then to have taken off 15 minutes, I still need to take off a further 8 minutes, which of course will get me to 10:52 a.m. And I'm asked at what time did the train depart, and so of course 10:52 is my answer there. So I already know for 1,000 grams I would need to cook it for 45 minutes, add 20 minutes. So for 1,500 gram chicken I need an extra 500 grams, which is an extra 22.5 minutes cooking time. So in total, I would need 67.5 minutes plus the 20 minutes extra. So if I add that together, I would have 87.5 minutes. Now we know that that's 60 minutes, of course, is an hour, so that'll be 1 hour, 27 minutes and a half. Now, of course, a half, 0.5, in time would be half of a minute, 30 seconds. And of course, if I like my chicken slightly crispier, maybe I'd cook it for 1 hour and 28. So here's your final question, and this question ties together both money and time skills. Pause the video and have a go. So the first thing I'd have to do is work out 3 hours, how many minutes is that? And of course 3 hours is 180 minutes, it's 3 lots of 60. Now, how many 45-minute sessions are there in 180? 1, 2, 3, 4. So overall, it'll be 4 lessons. Now, the red herring here is the cost, £6, because actually, for this question, that's not necessary information. Well done. We'll see you back in class to practice all these skills.